Hello everybody, Wes Boss here. Thanks so much for checking out React for Beginners. Hopefully you're pretty excited to start learning React. There's a couple things we need to do in order to get set up with all the tooling and editor highlighting and whatnot. So this is a pretty important video to make sure that we don't hit any bumps down the road. So first, let's talk about tooling. What tools do we need? First you need to do is make sure that you have Node.js installed on your computer. Well, we're not actually using Node as a backend service or server or anything like that. We are using Node.js to run all of the tooling that is required for developing locally on our computer. So if you do not have Node.js installed, or if you're on an older version of Node.js, and the way you can test that is that you go to your terminal and just type in node -v, and that will tell you what version of Node you're on. So if you get an error like Node is not a command, or you see a version that is maybe a couple versions behind what is the most recent current version on nodejs.org, then go ahead and just download this. You click next, 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 and it will install it to your computer. Next, what we need is the React Dev Tools for either Chrome or Firefox. All you need to do is just search React Dev Tools plus Chrome or plus Firefox and go ahead and add those to Chrome. The way you can tell if they are working is that you need to go to a website that has React on it. So often I get emails from people where we have this index.js and we'll just console log, hey, make sure that it's working. Well, it's not going to show up on this at this point because we don't have React installed on this app yet, so it won't show up. So what I like to tell people to do is go over to Instagram.com or Netflix or Facebook or any application that is built on React and just open up your dev tools, and you should see a new tab. It's usually at the end here. You can drag and drop if you want to go higher in the order here. And you should see the new React tab, and that will show you your actual application as React sees it, not as the rendered DOM output. And that's going to be really helpful for us as we move along through our application. What we also need is a terminal. And if you are on Windows, I recommend that you go ahead and grab Commander, CMDER, and that will just give you some nicer syntax highlighting. I am on a Mac for this series, so I use one called Hyper. However, there is a terminal built into OS X. It'll be under your utilities folder. And jump. You see it's right there. I'm trying to scroll it into view. You get the point. It's that little one right there. Or just open up your command space and type on terminal, and you'll see a terminal window pop open. We're not going to be doing a whole lot with that, but we do need that to start all of our different tooling. If you're curious as to what these color schemes are, or how I got the Git in my thing right here, or any of the colors or the font or anything that I use, what kind of toilet paper I use, you can go to wesboss.com/uses, and this is just detailing all of the different little things that I use, from what font I use to different emoji pickers that everyone seems to ask about. If it's not on there, feel free to tweet me. I'm at wesboss, and that should help you out. So that is it. For your text editor, you can use any text editor that you're comfortable with. I am using Visual Studio Code in this one, but you can use Atom or Sublime or WebStorm, whatever editor that you're most comfortable in. The thing that you need to know about this is if you're using Sublime Text, I just popped it open here, you need to make sure that you have the JavaScript Babel highlighter or JavaScript Babel highlighter and not the default JavaScript highlighter, because there is some extended syntax highlighting in something called JSX that we're going to need, and it just won't look very nice. It just will kind of get in your way if you don't have it. So the way you can do that is you can just open this up, type install, and you'll see package control install package. And then from that, you'll be able to find one called, I think it's just called Babel. Let me find it. List packages, Babel. Yeah, it looks like this. Syntax definitions for ESX JavaScript with React JSX extensions. And then once you're in there, you click on this one in the corner, and you click open all with current extension. Triple check you're in a .js file. Open all with current extension as, find the one that says Babel, and then click on the one. I know you can't see this right now, but it says JavaScript brackets Babel, and that will That'll make sure that your syntax highlighting, no matter what file you're opening, is up to snuff. So what do we got here? We got the text editor. We did the terminal. Let's talk about the stepped solution. So log into your course dashboard, and you're going to see that your course is listed here. And then you're going to see a link that says starter files. Click on that, and that's going to link you off to my GitHub, where I host all of the starter files and the step solutions to this course. So there's going to be two folders. There's going to be one called Catch of the Day, and that's going to include, that's our starter file for working. There's not much in there when we start because we're going to be building it all together, but that's where we're going to be working out of for the entire course of it. So that's your sort of home folder. If you're going to bookmark a folder on your computer, that's going to be it. However, there is another one called Step Solutions, and inside of Step Solutions, there's going to be a folder that corresponds with the start of every video. And I'll say that again, these folders here, like 16, that corresponds with the start of folder 16 or video 16. So if you are having trouble in, say, video 15, and you want to make sure that you're exactly where I am in video 16, and you want to go forward with the exact same code that I'm working with, then you can go ahead and grab out the changes from video 16. So you just copy paste those out of your whatever corresponding one, overwrite any files that you have, and then you'll be in Catch of the Day. You'll be up and running with what I have. Now, in the Catch of the Day folder, we do need to install some of our dependencies. So what I recommend to people is open up the Catch of the Day folder in your editor, and then also open it up in your terminal. Now, if you're having trouble finding where that is, what I recommend to people is you just type cd space, and then open up either your Windows Explorer or your Finder in OS X. Find the folder that you have, and then just go ahead and drag and drop that in there, and that's going to complete the long path of wherever it is in the bowels of your computer, and then hit enter, and that will bring you to the actual Catch of the Day folder that we're trying to look at. One thing I will say is that make sure you don't have any weird characters anywhere along the path to your folder. So sometimes people put dashes or parentheses or emojis or stars, I don't know, all kinds of weird characters, and that will for sure screw up the file watching, where when we make a change, it's going to automatically reload the change. If that's not working, it's likely because you have a weird character in one of your folders along the way. And that also goes for renaming folders. If you rename it halfway through, that will likely goof it up. So keep things exactly the same as we have here. Now, in your Catch of the Day folder, open up your package.json. And the package.json, if you've never seen one, you can, what I'm going to do here is an npm install. So if you know what that is, you can skip this whole section. But for those who don't know, dev dependencies are things that are needed in order to locally run our application. And the two things here are, the first one is called React Scripts. And what React Scripts is a tool put out by Facebook, and it does, underneath the hood, it does all of the compiling and transpiling of our JavaScript code in order for it to run in the browser. So you may have previously heard of Webpack or some stuff called Babel, which will convert all of our JSX to actual React code. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to go through what those things are. But so this sort of takes all the complexity of setting up your own development environment and sort of temporarily lets us sweep that stuff under the rug and just get into building our React application. So it does the Webpack and the Babel under the hood for us. Now, if we want to have a little bit of access to our Webpack and our Babel config, then I'm going to show you how to do something called eject near the end of this course, which will give us full control over, and we can see the actual Webpack config that happens under the hood. And that's kind of the best of both worlds, because it doesn't like give you the burden of setting up your own Webpack, which is extremely complicated up front. Although if you do want access to it, you can sort of say pretty please and get access to it. So those are our dev dependencies. And then we have a couple dependencies, and these are things that are actually needed in our application to make it run. So we'll talk about these ones. These two are for styling. This one is going to be for connecting to our database, which is called Firebase. Prop types is a something that's going to allow us to specify what data gets passed in and what the data looks like. And that used to be part of React itself. If you're watching this tutorial for the second, this used to be part of React. Now it's in its own package. We'll talk about what those are in its own video. Rebase is going to allow us to actually connect it to Firebase and sync our changes in real time. React and React DOM are the entire reason why you're taking this course. React Router is going to allow us to watch for changes and have special URLs. And then finally, this transition group is going to allow us to have a nice little animations, swoop things in, swoop them off the screen and whatnot. So we'll go through what all of those are throughout the entire course. But those are the only dependencies that you want. I will recommend that you stick with these versions that you have here. I will be updating the course as React gets updated and as there are new fundamental changes. But often what will happen, especially in the case of like prop types, React might like move part of their dependency to a secondary package, and in that case it'll start spitting warnings into your console. So just know that these versions will be updated as I need to, and for your best experience in learning React, keep these versions as they are in here, and then they might even be different because I'll be updating the GitHub as we go through them. Finally, we've got some scripts here. I'll go through what all these different ones are, but we're mostly just worried about the start command right now, and that's going to run the Babel and the Webpack width through this thing called create React app. So let's open up our terminal here, and I am in the catch of the day folder, and we just need to go ahead and type npm install, and that's going to fetch all of those dependencies that were from our package.json, and it's going to go and download a copy of each of those so that we can run everything locally and run our compile. So depending on the speed of your network and your computer, this might take a minute or two. Once it's finished, it actually doesn't tell you that it had worked. I guess it says added 1,444 packages in 28 seconds, but it will dump a whole bunch of stuff on the screen as long as you don't see any actual errors. You might see notices and warnings, but as long as you don't see any errors, you're in good shape. If you ever are having trouble with your install, I do this all the time. If something maybe has gone wrong during the install or it's not starting up like you think it should be, just go into your folder and find the node modules folder there and delete it. You can also try deleting the package lock file. I would not delete that the first time though. Just go ahead and delete it and then run npm install again, and that's going to reinstall all of your dependencies. Now, what we need to do to test if it worked, I'll clear this all out. You just type npm start, and that's going to start up the create React app server for us, and it's going to load up our local host. Generally, it's going to be localhost 3000. If you have something else running on the port 3000, it's going to ask you for another port. It's also going to tell you what your local network IP address is. So if you'd like to maybe test out the application on your phone or another computer, you can always open it up on that local IP address as long as you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Let's get it running then. So there's not much in here, just this little fold button, and we're going to be building the entire app out ourselves. But then go into your editor, and in the source folder, you're going to see an index.js file, and that will have nothing in there. And just to test that everything is working fine, just type alert hey inside of there and give it a save. And when we save it, it should automatically detect that we made a change to one of our JavaScript files, and the browser should reload itself. Give it a save. And bam, we get the hey there going. And click OK, and everything is in good shape. So if we've done all of that properly, you see the hey popping up, then we're ready to actually start writing some React code. See you in the next video.